Hola a todos, en Urotalks de la Sociedad Mexicana de Urología estamos con el doctor Mohamed Eltemamy, una historia pues maravillosa que va desde iniciar con su educación médica en el Cairo, Egipto, y por curiosidad y para aprender más cosas de la que pudo aprender en el país, como muchos de nosotros nos pasa, el destino lo llevó a Estados Unidos, San Francisco, y de ahí pasó hasta Cleveland Clínic y hasta ser el único cirujano en el país de Estados Unidos hasta el momento en realizar trasplantes con robot single port. So, Dr. Mohamed, thank you for being here. It's an honor.
It's great to be with you.
It's a great privilege to speak with you. And if you'd like to start this conversation by, I was asking you earlier if you had any arguments with speaking about your personal experience from Cairo to the United States, your transition, your journey, and how it all got like a puzzle to finally become the first surgeon and the only surgeon right now who does single port transplant and a lot of oncologic procedures with the robotic system.
No, of course. No, thank you for having us and having me. And so my name is Mohamed Eltemamy. I'm from Cairo, Egypt. This is where I was born and raised and did my medical school. And then I actually did do my residency at the Cairo University, which was a 3-year program. And once I was done with my residency, I joined as a junior faculty at Cairo University. But while I was a junior faculty, I really always had the dream of traveling abroad and experiencing different medical institutes and different medical practices for sure. So interestingly enough, up to finishing my residency, I haven't done any steps of my USMLEs. I only started after I was done with my residency as a junior faculty. I would almost always work in the morning and then study at night. I was able to do step 1 and step 2. While I was in Cairo, Egypt. And then I had the opportunity to go for a 1-year fellowship research at UCSF with Dr. Peter Carroll. So it was a great opportunity for sure. I went there, spent 1 year, and during that year I was able to finish my USMLEs, the step 2 CK and step 3. And from there I was able to apply to a lot of fellowships, and I matched at Cleveland Clinic.
Yeah, so also earlier we were talking and how difficult it is to just get an interview, but it must have been just as difficult to be a faculty member, have all the work, all the surgeries, the consultations, intern patients, and also make the time to study, to have an opportunity abroad, and that must have been hard. But I think it shows compromise, and that's the only thing that you really need if you want to, if it's in your dreams or in your goals, to have an experience abroad in a country that is as difficult to get into as the United States.
No, definitely for sure. I think it was a lot of compromise, a lot of family compromise, right? I had a young kid and my wife, and I was a lot of time absent because I'm either working or studying. But I come from a family of doctors. For my family, my father and mother were very understanding of what I was doing. So I had a lot of support from my parents and my wife. And yeah, if you have a dream and you really have to work hard for it, for sure.
Yeah, of course. That's something we hear like every time we speak with someone like you, and then you go home, you go to your hospital, you go to your program, and you forget about it. I mean, it's something you have to remind yourself of. Every opportunity is there, and all you have to do is compromise to open that door, right?
Absolutely.
So 2018, you go to Cleveland Clinic and starting the transplant program, right? So how did you get from starting a program in transplants to having this experience and becoming a surgeon who does transplants with a single port, and in the only center and the top surgeon, the only surgeon who does this in America right now?
Yeah, so a lot of it obviously was not planned. A lot of it is just the one step follows the other. So as we discussed, I did apply to many fellowships, right? And it's obviously hard for IMG students or IMG's medical graduates to get into fellowship with no previous U.S. experience. But I was lucky enough to be accepted as a transplant fellow at the Cleveland Clinic, which is unique in the sense of still urologists do the kidney transplant, which is similar to Egypt where I trained. So I did do this 2-year fellowship of kidney and pancreas fellowship, with great mentors such as Dr. Krishnamurthy, Dr. Goldfarb, Dr. Wee, who's the program director now, and definitely developed a lot of surgical skills, had a great learning experience. And by the end of my fellowship, I started thinking that now I'm heading back to Egypt. Should I stay at least to learn more? Because once I go back, I had my position as a faculty at Cairo University, but I know that once I go back and start working, I'm never going
It's
to
more
learn again.
difficult to
I'm
go.
never
Yeah,
going to learn again
of course.
anything new. So at that time, I started asking, is it possible to get a 1 year robotic fellowship at the Cleveland Clinic? And I knew it was very very challenging and very a lot of competition, very competitive. But again, this is, I think, a message also. This once you put your leg through the door, and once you land in the United States, definitely the second and third step is always easier.
Okay, yeah.
So because I've already established the relationships and I had a lot of friends at the clinic, I was able to do this robotic fellowship with Dr. Jihad Kayuk, who's obviously a very known and capable and great surgeon who's now I'm lucky to call friend as well. So he trained me. I did this 1 year fellowship that was shortened a little bit, but then I joined as a staff at the Cleveland Clinic.
Yeah, yeah. Then someone came and asked you what you were gonna do next, and he told you, "No, that's not what you're doing."
Yes, up to this point, the plan was still that I'm going to finish my robotic fellowship, go back to Egypt, go back to Cairo. My whole extended family still lives there. But towards the end of midway through my second fellowship, I was Dr. Klein, Eric Klein, who was the chair institute at the time, offered me to stay, and he said that they needed someone who was able to do both urology, robotics, as well as transplant. So I did stay and joined the staff in 2019.
Okay, and then in a high volume center like Cleveland, and you don't only do transplants, you also have oncologic duties as well.
Yeah. This is a problem of loving a lot of the urology things. I don't want to give up a lot of things, so I do transplant, which I think almost takes about 30-40% of my time, because we are 4 transplant surgeons at the Cleveland Clinic, so I'm on call a week every month.
Okay.
But the rest of the 3 weeks I'm doing urology. And we are really, like this year, we already hit 330 kidneys this year. So we do a lot of kidneys among the 4 of us. But as I said, the rest of the 3 weeks I'm still doing bladder, prostate, and kidney cancer. And it's a pleasure to do all of this.
Okay, and with the thing of the single port, with a single port transplant, so you started with a multi-port, I guess, or was it starting from zero, starting SP right from the start?
You mean for transplants?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. So when I joined the robotic fellowship with Dr. Jihad Kayuk, this was 2018, I've already finished my transplant fellowship. So I'm already a licensed transplant surgeon, right? And Dr. Jihad Kayuk is a master robotic surgeon, but he doesn't have transplant experience. And then in the Cleveland Clinic in 2018, we received the first version of single port robot in the world. It was the first generation, the first robot came to the Cleveland Clinic. So I was there through trying to work up this machine and to know what's the best way of using it and so on. And Dr. Kayuk, being the innovative guy he was like, Mohamed, we have to make use of your previous training. We have to do something. And in 2018, we did actually take the single port robot down to the cadaver lab. And we started trialing to do the single port extraperitoneal kidney transplant in the cadaver lab first. We published this paper 2019, and then we did the first case same year, 2019 as well. And I know I have a little bit of a different experience than most people, because my first 33 robotic kidney transplants were all single port. I haven't yet tried the multi-port transplant. But after my first 33 cases, we started exploring more the multi-port robot. And I think now it's almost, I would say, a 50-50%. I do a lot of them multi-port and a lot of them single port as well.
Okay, so we have a extraordinary story, which starts with the newest things and then go back to the things we already had before. So that's good. We hope, and we are honored to have you here, and we hope you enjoy Cancun. You enjoy our closure dinner later.
Yes, absolutely.
And if there's anything you would like to tell young residents of the society.
Yes. No, I think, first of all, it's a pleasure to be in Cancun. This is my first time in Mexico. Definitely will not be the last. My wife and kids are with me, and we're having a great time. Amazing hospitality from all the organizers, from you and everyone around us here. Great weather, great beaches. Everything is really, and great food. Great food. We had a lot of tacos. Great food. And for the young residents, I think. It's important, really, if you have a dream, to chase it. That's all I'm gonna say. You really have to put the extra time, extra effort, if you want to go somewhere else, if you want to have a different experience. I think this is very important. And also, the time you invest earlier in your career is really rewarded in the future. I think so too. That's probably it.
Bueno, pues muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Bueno, pues con el doctor Eltemamy ya escucharon consejos, experiencia y una historia extraordinaria. Es un placer tenerlo con nosotros. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.